Welcome to NTDWI. I am your host Infidel L, and today is February 16th, 2017. Today I'm going to be covering the Paris riots. Paris is on fire after 11 nights of rioting over the alleged police rape of a young man. Paris in the spring, the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the Notre Dame Cathedral rising above the river Seine, and the rampaging mobs, the burning cars, and the tear gas. And while our leaders fiddle, Paris burns. Riots spilled from the suburbs of Paris into the city center last night, February 15th, as hundreds gathered to demand justice for a 22-year-old black man who says he was raped with a police officer's baton. Tensions have been high in council estates in the Paris suburbs since February 2nd, when a man identified only as Theo was beaten up and allegedly raped. Euronews reports that youths set rubbish bins on fire and threw missiles at police. A metro station was also closed for a time before calm was restored later in the night. The alleged rape has sparked 11 nights of rioting and more than 200 arrests. Justice must be served, Hollande said during a visit to Aubervilliers, located in the Seine-Saint-Denis region northeast of Paris, where a 22-year-old youth worker identified only as Theo was assaulted. But Hollande also condemned the ensuing riot. The injuries sustained by Theo during a stop-and-search operation in the suburb of Aulnay-sous-Bois have sparked clashes with police and arson attacks across the impoverished, ethnically mixed housing estates that ring the French capital. Theo suffered severe anal injuries requiring hospital treatment during his arrest by 4 officers. 1 officer has been charged with rape and 3 others with assault. All 4 have been suspended from the force. Tear gas was used by police as buildings and rubbish bins were set on fire around the Barbès metro station, which is just around the corner from the Eurostar hub at Gare du Nord. As fire crews went in to extinguish the blazes, lines of riot police were attacked and shops were looted. A policeman at the scene said windows have been smashed and officers attacked. Small groups of protesters wearing hoods to hide their identities are causing trouble and then running away. Thousands marched through the suburbs of Paris on Saturday, which would have been February 11th, some burning cars and smashing bus shelters, after police claimed that the anal violation of a black man with a baton was an accident, not a rape. Okay, let's stop this story here for a second. Sodomy of a man with a baton was an accident. How does one accidentally rape someone with a foreign object? I mean, this is friggin' preposterous. The police let the ball drop on this one. They should have investigated thoroughly before issuing a statement, and they should not have issued one that is so obviously and blatantly false. I mean, the public generally feels that the police will do anything to protect one of their own, and this ludicrous statement goes a long way to prove the public is right. I mean, you can accidentally hit someone, you can accidentally trip a person, you can accidentally rip their clothes, but you cannot accidentally sodomize a person. And the public's concerns aren't without merit. I can state that as a former peace officer. All I'm saying is the police should have thought through that a little better before issuing a statement saying that the officer accidentally sodomized this man. Let's continue. After a week of nightly clashes between officers and angry residents, the protests on Saturday began peacefully outside a courthouse in Bobigny, north of the capital. But before the day was done, at least 37 people would be in jail, and a little girl had to be rescued from a burning car. So now we come to the real problem of rampaging through the streets like a herd of wild, bloody buffalo. Innocent people get hurt. Thank God that this little girl was not burnt alive in that car. There is no justification for just rampant violence. How can a person in good conscience riot over the indiscriminate attack on another human being while indiscriminately causing harm to others, especially a child? The problem is when you have a mob, they have a mob mentality. You don't have any control over what happens. Now imagine if that child had have died. Then what? Are you going to have another rampage over the death of that child? I mean, it's just ludicrous. Thank goodness that child was rescued, and so far there hasn't been loss of life. I'll continue. Police stated that several hundred people rampaged through the streets of Bobigny, attacking cars, shops, and public property. The whole area where the demonstration started is now soaked in tear gas, Al Jazeera reported from the city. Hollande's visit did little to quell the fury of rioters, who in recent nights have aimed fireworks at police and set fire to cars and garbage bins in the working-class region northeast of the French capital that has a large minority population, known as Seine-Saint-Denis. Between Wednesday night and Thursday morning, police arrested 26 people. The youth worker said he was sodomized by police with a baton, as well as being racially abused, spat at, and beaten around his genitals. 1 unidentified officer has been charged with rape and 3 more with assault since Theo was sent to the hospital. He underwent emergency surgery and has been visited by the president, who has appealed for calm. Theo and his family have urged the community to act peacefully. He said, and I quote, "I would like to ask the residents of my neighborhood to calm down. I ask them to stop the hostilities because I love my city and I want to find it the way I left. Violence is not the way to support me," he added. "Justice will do its job." Police station and squad cars have been attacked, along with patrols trying to operate around France. Last night's protests at Barbès was an illegal one, with police in the 18th arrondissement refusing to give permission for it. The area is also close to the Sacré-Cœur Basilica in the Montmartre area, one hugely popular with tourists, including many from Britain. Yasser Louarty, a French human rights and civil liberties activist, told Al Jazeera that riots are fueled by the fact that the police are viewed as an occupying force, not a force of protection for the weak and against crime. He stated there was an atmosphere of open defiance to the state. The fear is that this might spark riots before the election, which may be a blessing for the right and far right. And here we go. We have rampaging, hooded rioters causing chaos. They're smashing and looting just for the sake of causing damage because nothing good will come of it. But what is their greatest fear? That it will give power to the right and the far right. Whatever the term far right means, it seems to be thrown around a lot these days. But let me be the first to say that there is truth to his comment. The fact is that every time a Berkeley incident happens, it drives more people away from the left. I covered this in a report last week. There have been studies done to prove this is true. Of course, the left doesn't understand that their actions are actually hurting their cause, whatever their cause might be, and aiding the, quote, right. There is a backlash to senseless violence. The general, hardworking, middle-class public reacts with revulsion. They state they feel powerless, like they don't have a voice. Welcome to the world. We all feel powerless. I have yet to meet one person who feels as though their government listens to them and gives them personally a voice. We all get upset over laws that are passed and government intrusion, police brutality, etc. But guess what? We don't get to go and tear up our neighborhoods and cause violence and damage. That's not the answer. That's not how we get heard. The solution, in my humble opinion, is the heavy hand of the law, shutting it down. The police should be out there with using rubber bullets, tasers, whatever it takes, and engaging in mass arrests. Whatever it takes to put a stop to the riots and send a strong message that this behavior will not be tolerated. Back to the story. Many fear a repeat of the mass housing estate riots that blighted France over 3 weeks in 2005, leading to a state of emergency being declared. On October 27th of that year, 2 French youths were electrocuted as they fled the police in the Parisian suburb of Clichy-sous-Bois. Their deaths sparked nearly 3 weeks of rioting in 274 towns throughout the Paris region. The rioters, mostly unemployed teenagers from destitute suburban housing projects, caused over 200 million euros in damage as they torched nearly 9,000 cars in dozens of buildings, daycare centers, and schools. The French police arrested close to 2,900 rioters. 126 police and firefighters were injured, and there was 1 fatality, a bystander who died after being struck by a hooded youth. This is just the beginning. Lawless mobs, torching of cars, and street crime have been tolerated for too long. This is what you get when you bring in an untold number of immigrants who don't integrate. Some of them are illiterate in their own language. So what chance do they have to learn the native language and secure a job? They are packed into these slums with other immigrants, and the high level of violence only leads them to being more isolated as no-go zone areas are created. I have no doubt that justice will be done in this case, but it shouldn't be done amidst violence and chaos. You don't combat heinous violence with violence. I am Infidel L, and if my message resonates with you, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you and stay safe.